The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you that you have blessed this parish with both resources, but the willingness to use those resources to your honor and glory. So as we gather to give thanks for the physical plant that you have blessed us with, we just pray that we'll be good stewards over it, maintain it, and entrust it to those who come after. We pray all of this in the name of him who gave his life that we might have life and have it abundantly, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. All right, what we thought we'd do is just beginning, God willing, on the 9th of January, construction is going to begin. So Reeves, your senior warden, and Jane Shaffron, facilities manager, and I just want to kind of bring you up to speed on this and then just talk about how we're going to navigate this time. As you may be aware, I'm taking 6 weeks of my mini sabbatical beginning the 1st of January, so I'll be navigating it by not being around all of this dust and construction, and I'm very, very grateful for that. You know, before we do anything, we really need to thank Jane Shaffron because it's remarkable the ministry that she is doing here, but especially trying to get all of this moved out and organized and what have you. So Jane, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, it's hard to believe, but as soon as we cross over to 2023, that'll be a full quarter century since the last renovation of this facility. So remember in 1998, among other things, we added on this parish hall. Remember the rear wall of the church is right there. So this is all new building. The last renovation in 1998, you know the old adage that maintenance deferred becomes capital expenditure. So the last renovation really spent the bulk of its time addressing all the things that just, the stuff you never see, you know, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all that kind of stuff, asbestos rebatement, blah, blah, blah. But this one, you know, we get to build on the generosity of past generations. So among other things, we now own a rectory outright, no mortgage, and that's because of the Funding the Future. Remember that I turned 68 next week, by the way. But in the Episcopal Church, you have to retire at 72. So whether I'll go another 4 years or not, Cameron and I are busy saying our prayers. But what we do know is that to get this space, you know, remember, we named Funding the Future precisely, we didn't know COVID was going to hit, but boy, did we ever time that, did the Lord ever time that right, that we got that done ahead of time. But the whole point is we don't know what's going to look like 10 years out. All we know is that it's our responsibility to position ourselves as best we can, both in the near term, but also to get ourselves ready for whatever God should bring in the future. So that's really exciting to have a rectory in place, because most churches are moving away from having rectories, because you can imagine that the problem is that when clergy retire, you haven't built up any equity. So you suddenly are without housing, and what do? So the vestry will have to be creative about how to help the new rector build, but also you can't live in this neighborhood, right? I mean, you can't afford to come in here, and we don't want to lose applicants because they can't possibly afford to live here. So our situation makes sense to have a rectory. So that's one piece that is just kind of wonderful. But then the other, and I'll let other people do it, but the kitchen needs to be renovated. It's served us well, but it really has some possibilities that are going to enhance our ability to really do what we need to here. Jane just walked off to take a phone call, which means that I'm on my own for just a couple of minutes. my handy dandy high-tech pointer I don't have with us right now, so I'm kind of lost. If I don't have technology at my disposal, I just, I can't do this. So I'm teasing, Tammy. I'm the worst. You're fine. We'll be fine with that. But basically, if you've been in the kitchen, you know that it's functional, but it's not really very user-friendly. So it'll be reorganized, so it'll be much more efficient. So you'll have, instead of those kind of two old freezers and refrigerators, we'll really have a modern one that will help us with being up to speed, sort of health-wise. And the whole design just makes a whole lot of sense. So I think, I don't know, Reeves, what else? Yeah. Yeah.
So all the cabinetry is getting replaced that you'll see surrounding the edges. The table in the middle is staying. We're getting a new stove. There's just some concern with the range, the way the pilot lights stay on. There's a safety issue with that for fire and different things. And then down here in the bottom corner where it says WH, we're going to have a washer and dryer because we haven't been able to do, sometimes we have vestments, towels people take home or get laundry. It'll be really nice to be able to do some laundry here. The pantry and storage areas are going to stay the same. There's no work being done. But part of where this washer, dryer, and closet is right now, you can't even walk in and get the brooms out. They're all tucked away and hidden. So there's just a huge functionality piece that's going to be happening all in there.
Jane, what else would you like to add?
Sorry, emergency plumbing at my mom's. Sorry. And I'm sorry about the mask, but there again, got to protect everybody. Yeah, as Reeves said, one thing here is we're going to finally have a mop closet that some of us who do mopping will really appreciate that we can get to, because right now you can't. And the washer and dryer is just going to be a huge gift, so thank you for that. Great addition. We're going to keep the same tile floor. If you said that, I'm sorry if I repeated. But the footprint's the same, just all new, updated, different color scheme, really exciting and very functional. We will look later on at possibly replacing that stainless table in there. If it's a little too big, we'll reduce the size, but we're going to see how the functionality sets up in there. So that's about all I have for the kitchen, I think.
All right, let me make a pitch here while we're talking about kitchens. Remember that a lot of ministry is quiet, behind the scenes ministry that has to take place in order for other things to happen. We need new members of the Altar Guild. It's a commitment of about 2 hours a month, one Saturday morning, one Sunday after you come to church, you either clean up or set up. But it's a wonderful group of people, men and women. I grew up at Grace Church in Alexandria. The head of the Altar Guild is a guy I grew up with. He is the president. And if you're the president of the Altar Guild at Grace Church, you got to know your stuff. So the fact that it's John Barker, you know John, Jane. So my point is, if you have any inkling, it's a really easy way to make a huge impact and also receive a real blessing. I'm going to ask Suzanne just to talk about her experience being on Altar Guild and the way it just helps you get centered and grounded and say your prayers. See, I'm giving it to you, right. Suzanne.
Yeah, we talked about this last night. He called me and told me we're going to do this. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to see. I think there's some new people here that I don't know, but yeah, it's a great way to get involved slowly without feeling massively overcommitted. I honestly did it because my mom's friend, Betty Burrows, was approached by Andrew to do it, but I thought he was talking to me at the same time, but he's really talking to Betty. But I took the invitation. And I don't know very much. I did not know very much about, I still don't know a lot about linens, but vestments, just all of the different parts of the service that we have to maintain, the vessels that we use. I'm telling you, it's just really great. And the best part about it is doing a weekday service at 4 p.m. And I've said this a million times to other people, and you have the donated stained glass window from Mary Huddle shining sunlight through it, and it's just you in the church, and you're changing the candles. and it's just very spiritual. And the other thing is I've met some of my best friends through the years on the Altar Guild. So I don't know, I think it's been like now almost 18 years that I've been doing it, which I can't believe, but I would highly recommend it if anybody's looking for one thing to do that you haven't done before.
Thank you, and please do not be shy, men and women. It's a very prayerful, and it's really, really necessary to things. We also need ushers. Again, we'll get you trained. Again, it's not an overwhelming time commitment, but again, we just have to after COVID, kind of re-up. And I think I said I had a birthday next week. Some of us are getting a little older, so some of you who are a little younger, it's your time to kind of step up. So we want you, we love you, we need you. Don't make me come after you. No. All right, now, here's the really exciting part of this renovation, and Jane, I'm going to let you speak to it because you know this stuff inside out. But downstairs is going to be a transformed space, and this is like off the charts cool. Jane, you're on.
Thanks, Father. So in the office areas themselves, which right below us here, the footprint will remain the same except for approximately 2 walls. We'll be adding an office where the reception area is. And then the present resource room, can you get there? The resource room will turn into an office. In turn, the resource room is moving down amongst all the classrooms. Jackie's doing a great job with the teachers to sort out all those great supplies, and to the original classroom closet down the hall. And then we'll figure out, once we're back in, what other space they need for that. And then everything else will be carpet, ceiling, new ceiling tiles, lights, LEDs, we'll finally do it all then, paint, new furniture, and obviously just a whole new look. When you come in, the kitchen area, right that you see, will be expanded, and we'll have 2 small fridges. We'll have microwave, all that will be there, but it'll all be paneled so it looks like a flow. And the reason we're doing that is because the lobby area will be able to support if we had to do a catered event or anything of that nature. And it will be beefed up. We'll have an ice maker down there, so you're not coming up and down all the time. By the way, I just want to thank you all again because it's a great gift. What we're going to be doing is going to open up all kind of possibilities. We're going to enhance all the soundproofing, because if you've been downstairs before, right, Father? The doors don't always make a difference. So we're going to enhance everything there, all new doors, but following all the proper safety procedures with a windowed panel and everything available there. You can see the layout where you're going to have the 3 clergy. This is actually going to, right there, Joel, is going to be a clergy office. So the 3 clergy will be at the end of the hall. And then we'll have each individual office as we're able. Finance is going back to their original space. Safe closet, the same. Live stream area, which is, if you're not familiar, is all the way through the workroom. Right now, where Joel, Prosper, and Ned and Dave hang their hat, that's going to have a glass door on it and be a little more private so that they don't get interruptions. And then my office is going to continue to be right next to it also. So this will be huge with lighting, help with efficiency, everything.
You're going to, with this cabinetry and closets, are you going to fit them really well with shelves and stuff?
Yeah, we looked at refacing, but cost-wise, and nowadays, the supply chain. Lynn was very smart to get on that early. Lynn Fuchel, who we got to give a huge shout out to, who's just, I don't know if you've...
No, that was coming.
That we just can't thank her enough for her time. We're going to do replacement, and so it'll all be pulled out of the storage room. All along the wall coming into the office will be all new cabinetry.
And it's really nice, the vestry, which also doubles as the library, is going to be redesigned so it's a 21st century library. So you really have much better access.
I was getting there. Yeah, we're going to have nice millwork. That millwork in there will be pulled out. We'll have nice millwork. We're looking into a smart board, similar to what all the schools have now, with that versatility. Beautiful conference table. Instead of folding tables or instead of just different tables, it'll be one solid table. Extra chairs, all that. The good news, Lynn's working on this now. She just met with our furniture person. So when we move back in April, we'll have all new furniture. For the first time since I've been here, we've had all donated furniture since I've been at this church, except for a few pieces here and there. You know, really trying to watch, but it's going to be a whole transformation. So, any questions? Yeah, we'll
That's
get to.
the really exciting part. That's the exciting part.
Go ahead if you want to.
No. Let me just say, just for those of you who don't know Lynn Fuchsel, she was the head of Jack Bay's Construction, the president of Jack Bay's Construction for many, many years, and her specialty was churches. So she has designed all sorts of churches and executed the building of them and what have you. So to have her act as, sort of the general manager, construction manager on this, I'm looking at Dave Fletcher, he knows full well that to have somebody donate that position, we cannot thank Lynn Fuchsel enough for what she is doing. So, but this is the part that's really cool, I think, so have at it.
So here, it is really cool, and it's going to be tremendous, because as you know, this is Glebe Road. Thanks, Joel, for doing this, by the way. You come in Glebe Road, and it's kind of closed off. We can't open that one wall on the left, because why? Because it supports 9 tons of the organ, which who knew? I never knew organs weighed so much. So anyway, but it will be an open area, and then you'll transition into this approximately 22 by 33 area, because we will remove that whole middle section that's there now. There's a bathroom, a counter, a kitchenette area, a tool closet. We've already moved all that. And on the back side, if you recall, was Janet's office, finance. So all that'll be removed. So that'll free up space. Also, by the toilet that's presently there on the way to the elevator, the ADA, right where that sofa is, Joel, that is an HVAC closet right now for the back of the church. Well, we were going to move it to the front, but we didn't like that. And Lynn thankfully had a brilliant idea, Advent Cleanup Day, of negotiating with the classrooms and Jackie and the teacher, Dave Palmer and Barb, to right here put 7 feet of a closet in there. So we're looking at doing that. We had a big meeting this week, and we're looking at just moving that unit right over there. Why? It'll enhance this whole area for a bigger space, and it will keep the reception area it's pretty decent size now. And a lot of times people like to meet down there. So that one we're working on, trying to make that work. The idea of this whole lobby area is, heck, you could show up and have coffee and, hang out there prior to the service, let alone after. We can have meetings there. We can use it for small dinners because you'll have the support of the kitchen area. Also, what we call Classroom A, which, by the way, I hope we name all the classrooms. I've been wanting to do that for my 22 years, so hopefully we'll come up with some good names. Classroom A will be transformed to the resource room will move there, but that will also store some things for the building and tables that we can use in that area. Then the toilet that's over in the middle will be moved there. And yes, we will still have a shower, so we can have the Boy Scouts for Reeds of America come. We couldn't have them here this year because everything. And then we're going to even add another conference room that will have about 12 chairs in it, so it's decent size.
And just so everybody understands, in the lobby area, that's a sofa and chairs. What are all that furniture, Jane?
Well, it'll be free. This is just to give you an idea. Free-forming, we'll be able to move it around. Right here, where you see this box above the arrow, that'll be an information area, a counter, so that you can, have your food and lay it out there right from the kitchen. It'll have cabinets, it'll have information above it, so it'll be kind of like your hub. The opposite wall will probably have a TV monitor, because we're going to do all that after the fact. So you have the schedule. Yes?
Could you walk us through, I remember when the they don't see anybody, you know, you have to, and so it looks as though you've got a reception, is that right? There'll be a receptionist there?
Yeah, and the intent will be, you might see us doing the doors now and greeting, because we're trying to do that not only for welcoming, but security. We hope that then we will put someone at that desk all the time. They will be a button away from opening any of the doors, and they will have a full screen of cameras in front of them. I'm sorry to say that's just where we are in this world, but we're keeping people safe at the same time being welcoming. So yes, that's our intent, that it will be a reception area during the week and on Sundays too.
What's your flooring?
We have luxury vinyl tile in certain areas. This area, the big area, will be carpet tiles.
Like this?
Like this, but a pattern that doesn't show the pattern. And we just are now doing finishes. And you know, if you do finishes by committee, it gets a little dicey. So we're trying to we're trying to pick colors, and Lynn's done a great job working with a consultant. But we're going to have carpet tile, and then in the offices it'll be broadloom. So that'll be just straight carpet. And then also by the kitchen area will be the LVT too, because you know you may have spills and all that. The lobby area when you come in and reception will be the LVT too. My big thing is anything that looks good but doesn't show the dirt. That's really what, and low maintenance, that's what we look for nowadays, so.
Is there room for a 12-step meeting? I know that the one that used to be here on Monday nights is a big...
I think we'll entertain anything when we get back. We're at that place now. We were sorry to lose them after so many years. I think it was like
That was,
over 20 years.
Yeah, it was over 20
we
years.
had
Maybe we can get it back.
So, you know, I have not been contacted by anybody right now. So, I'm in the weeds, so I can get as detailed as you want. You know, I kind of miss Lynn because she's able to give you the selling factors, but it's just going to be really nice, beautiful space, great flow, and I just really see us using the space, being creative how we're going to use this space.
yeah,
There's also an office, though, for Janet, right? Or for finance?
Janet will go back to her old finance office in the offices where the safe is. Yeah, she'll move back there, yeah. We have enough. And then you have to realize the conference room will be set up so that if someone needs to be in there with a laptop, they'll be able, like say you came in and had some work to do, you could just go in that space.
I'm really looking forward to the new kitchen. We tried to do back when some meals that heal cooking in the current kitchen, and it was just so awkward. It was just too difficult.
That kid,
And also with the kids, because we like to do things with the junior high kids, like make apple pies, and, you know.
well, one thing will be, we have a 65-year-old Vulcan stove, which is known as a Pizza Hut oven. And that's one reason we have it. It's the most durable there is. And to move it, I couldn't get all of St. Joe's ministry to move it, I don't think. It's so heavy. But anyway, that's why I always pushed, I think it was time to do the new stove, safety factor, automatic pilots versus always on. So that'll help. The other thing that'll help is we won't have, even though the ice maker has been a great gift, it was oversized at the time, you know, and we're going to have an under-counter ice maker. So that'll, you know, just visually and free up more space. The counter will also extend because you have to have a handicap element, an ADA element, so it'll be on that left side. But it's a tough footprint in there, and the person who did it, it was right before I was hired. I don't know, there was a committee I remembered here, and I think my brother was on the building committee, but the kitchen committee, you know, did as best they could with the footprint. We have, the one change we've made is we've moved the 26th Street to the Old Dominion where you'll do all your dishes. You'll have your dishwasher in Hobart. Because why? Because you'll have your flow to your refrigerator and freezer here. You might have to go around someone at the oven, but I made a big plea to change that because I think that's more dead space. And when you're doing dishes, you're just focused in on doing dishes.
Couple of things I want to make sure you remember. When the renovation was done in '98, we pushed the footprint as far as it could be pushed. So we cannot expand anymore. because we're grandfathered parking-wise. That's why we really can't change anything to the nave of the church, because otherwise we'd have to come up with parking, and obviously we can't come up with parking. So we just have to live with that. I'm serious about, please pray for supply chain issues, because that's a real fact of life. We hope to be in by Easter. That's optimistic, I think, but that's what we're aiming for. Then also, please pray for permitting. If any of you have ever dealt with Arlington County, prayers are important. The one piece we're really battling with Arlington County, and I don't know that we're going to win, but we're trying. But Jane, speak to the little vestibule outside the Glebe Road access.
Yeah, permitting, we need all the prayers we can get. And believe it or not, and we may have a little access there, the fire marshal is where we're run, which is a good thing, because you want to be safe. So the fire marshal has really been tough. But he was tough when we, or I assume it's a he still, was tough when we were here 25 years ago too. So, you know, we've had issues all that time. The little vestibule area that we're thinking of doing, that we wanted to do, I should say, outside the glebe door, you know where the arch is when you come in down here?
Like that.
Well, the architect had a great idea of let's close that off and create a little transition area and vestibule. So why? So you could drop things off, you know, and also you didn't have the air coming in through that main door for your reception area. And so it would be a glass storefront similar to what's there. We would leave the existing, but we would just close that area in. Well, in turn, because of non-conforming status, you know about this, right, Dave? We cannot add any square footage. This is the argument. So in turn, Lynn has hired a prominent Arlington attorney, and we're contesting that right now. But we had to take that out of the original plan because of the permitting. We just have to get our permit to make this happen at this time. So.
Questions, thoughts?
One other thing, Jane has worked tirelessly to donate anything we're no longer using. All the furniture, none of it is not getting tossed, it's getting donated. And thanks to Jane's endless hours.
Santa Maria, we've already taken 3 loads. So we have a whole 2 classrooms now that we're going to try to donate, and we're working on that this week and next week. And then anything left, you know, that you wouldn't want to give to anybody, the construction team will come in and move out. And instead of having a dumpster here for the last 2 months, Lynn was brilliant and decided we'll just have them haul it all out. One thing I did fail to mention is the hallway going down to the classroom, that will all be redone now too, meaning paint, new carpet, all the way down. Why? Because if you're standing in the beautiful new space and you look down and you go, what's this? So Lynn had the wherewithal. Plus, some of you may remember the door handles, the hardware, the lock sets on the doors are not to code now. So we always have to have the bars there for that reason. So we're going to bring them up to the current code. They were at code, but we're going to bring them to the current code. So all that hardware will be replaced on the classrooms. Then the intent is to take a breather and then come back and hopefully tackle the classrooms.
Questions, thoughts? Dave?
Jane, I did have a question about the lighting in that lobby area, the uses, and if you're going to envision that. If you zone the lighting so that you can modulate it and create, you know, a more quiet space or a larger space for it to function.
Yes. I'll be happy to meet with you and show you what has been spec'd. We're trying to add some versatility into it so we can utilize it and have accent lighting and everything. I'm just excited because it'll all be LED. And, you know, I've been through now this is my 9th generation of new light bulbs. So I'm just excited that we'll be saving money there too. But yeah, and I'll share that with you, Dave. Lynn definitely took that in consideration, and the architect too. Thank you for bringing that up.
And we're working on solar panels, got to figure out how best to do that. But remember, that's one of our 3 pillars: care of creation, you know, how to address the systemic race issues in this country, and then how do we take care of each other. That's a corporate responsibility. Please remember that being a Christian is an active passive stance, meaning that God comes to us. That's why Mary is so essential, right? She is open, receptive to what God would do in her life. And then in turn, she is active. So just please don't think that being a member of a congregation is showing up once in a while. Everybody has to kind of say, oh, I got a little time here. I got a gift here. I'd like to meet some new people. I can plug myself. I can do that. But again, it's a discern thing. It isn't, oh my gosh, they need a warm body, so I'll go do it. We really try not to organize that way. We really think God has empowered each and every person in this parish to do something to build up the common good and to proclaim the good news of Jesus. Our new bishop had a clergy call this week, and I was so grateful that he began the call by saying, I just want to remind all of you clergy that we organize around Jesus. You know, it's really easy to get off doing all these great things and forget that the Savior of the world is come and has chosen the likes of us to proclaim the good news. Kind of an extraordinary kind of thing. So in all of that, we're just trying to be good, faithful stewards and respond to all the blessings that God has bestowed on this place. Remember that, and it's good Prosper just stepped out, but remember Prosper and his family are going to move in to this corner house right here at Glebe and Old Dominion, and Glebe and 26th Street. The reason that's so great is not only does that help Prosper and his family, but remember the old English understanding is that the sexton is responsible for the church grounds, for the keys, for everything. So to have Prosper right here, which also hopefully means that Jane is a little further away, because as you all know, she is a tireless, faithful worker, and that's, we need to take care of her too. So hopefully new stuff will mean less floods. How many floods you had this week? Three?
No,
Only two
well,
floods.
I don't know. I might have one right now.
But
I'm not here. My brother's
so, this is all to the good, all to the good. And bottom thing is, again, people stepped out in faith, and we raised, about $4 million, which allows you to do that, which also means that we have some resources that we've got tucked away, because we try not to be people who, you got money in your pocket and it burns a hole right through your pocket. No, we're trying to make sure that we're situated for the future, so that your vestry can continue. I'm looking at Reeves only because, believe it or not, May is the annual meeting. If you have people that you think would be good people to serve on the vestry, don't listen to the senior warden. It's really been fun and wonderful. No, she's a great senior warden. It's all to the good. But again, just don't, it's exciting what God's doing here. So let's all kind of do that, and I'll be quiet. I really will be quiet. Reeves?
I just think we need to think that funding the future committee, and I see, Stuart here and different people. I'm not going to name you, I'll forget. But thank you. This is years of work by others who've come and really worked tirelessly on this. So thank you to all of you who've done this. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. Jane, closing word?
Well, here again, I can't thank enough people. I see all these people that I've been working with for years on this that have made this happen. And thank you all. But one thing that we will get word out is the weekend of January 15th, that Sunday, because the actual pre-construction meeting's the 9th, and then we'll start renovation, is the Glebe entrance will be closed. So we will be using the red doors, and we'll be using Old Dominion. So ideally, if you had a child, you would go to Old Dominion so they could go down. It would just be easier to go to Old Dominion. They can go down those back steps by the elevator. It'll be really cool because it'll be a new thing. And we'll be able to access the hall that way. If at any point, because of moving that HVAC unit, we need to close that off, we can always come in the Memorial Garden doors, which would be really cool, because you'd get witness to realize all the saints before us that are there, and that lesson for the kids. So we will let everyone know, but right now keep that in mind, that will be happening that week. We will get word out, though, for sure. As you know, it's a moving target, so we're doing the best we can.
I also plan to put something on the website as well.
Right, absolutely.
In addition to our other locations.
And we appreciate the Sunday school teachers working with us, and Jackie and all of staff too. It really has helped, and Vestry's been extremely supportive, so thank you.
That's a nice way of saying no belly aching during construction. It's construction, okay? We're going to do the best we can. Yeah.
I'll take the complaints.
Thank you all so very much.